Good evening. Motion to resume public session. Ms. Kais? Sorry? Motion to resume public session. Carrie and Ms. Coffey? All in favor? The vote is unanimous. We are now in public session. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance. Good evening, everybody. Welcome. GC Pride Awards.
Good evening. Representing close to 400 students is a daunting task, especially when you're only 10, 11 years old. This past September, Brass Elementary held its annual Student Council elections. 24 students were voted upon with their classrooms to represent Brasser. Many members are present tonight. If you're a Brasser Student Council, could you please stand so we can recognize you? All right, thank you. After selecting the 24 students, those students then had an election within their group to determine the Brasser officers. Earning GC Pride Award for tonight are Treasurer Anna Keenan, Secretary Ariana Caruso, Vice President Baraz Zazani, and President Tim Walker. We're going to get a picture. All right, so we'll take a picture right after this, okay? All right. All right, up here. Thank you. Yes.
Sorry.
All right, here we go. 1, 2. Awesome.
All right.
Thank you.
Good job. All right, we also have a couple other GC Pride Awards. We'd like to, something I'd like to share with you is the staff over the years. I've shared with my staff that as an educator of 30 years, there are key people in our lives who have supported us in our pursuit of educational greatness. Yes, there are superintendents. Yes, there are principals. Yes, there's Board of Education members and fellow teachers. But who really makes an impact are people who help us be a better person each and every day. Multiple staff members at Brasser feel the same when we talk about our next two individuals. Our first recipient has been with Gates Chali for about 10 years and is in his 6th year here at Brasser as head custodian. His work ethic is by far top-notch. He's a doer. If he wants something done, he grabs the shovel and does it right along with his crew. That's the kind of person you want being head custodian. Not only is he a hard worker, he's a genuine man who has a huge heart. In my 30 years of education, there hasn't been a custodian like Don. It's my pleasure to award Don Vocal as GC Pride Award recipient. And the other recipient has been a Gates Chai employee for 28 years, starting back in 1994. She was the finance secretary for the high school for 21 years until she retired. Fortunately for myself and the entire Brasser community, she didn't stay retired, and she joined us for these next 7 years. And I think she has fully enjoyed herself. She has an incredible work ethic that I've not seen duplicated in my years of working in education. She's a gem. She understands her role, and she does it to the best of her ability with high validity, and she too has a tremendous heart who's willing to volunteer or support whenever is needed. I've had multiple secretaries in my career, but no one has ever come close to Nancy's ability. No computer can do what she can do. It is with the utmost admiration that I present Nancy Heim as GC Pride Award. The ones that just won an award, if you could please head out back and we'll get a group picture and then you can come right back in for our presentation, okay?
All right, thank you very much. Agenda changes, Superintendent Daly.
We had agenda changes to personnel, sir.
Thank you very much. Board President comments. I think, look at you guys, it's amazing. You guys are the reason that we are here. It is truly amazing to see you all tonight and to hear about the student leadership. It's interesting for me to reflect on how I take being here, doing this, speaking to you, and to see your children take on that kind of leadership at this point in their lives is truly amazing and heartwarming. So you got to be proud of them. I am. Thank you. Moving on to points of interest. Points of interest. Mr. Moscato.
I had the opportunity to attend the high school drama production. It was a play called Check Please, and it was probably maybe 20 of the worst possible scenarios of a blind date. Everything from a multiple personality that ended up as a monkey to somebody wearing a chicken head. You know, and the kids did a great job. I mean, and I'm sure the staff behind them. So it was, but the most important thing for me was it's so important seeing these kids up on stage, seeing these students up on stage and watching them interact and work together. And plus the crowd, you know. So I was very fortunate we could go, and I really appreciate all the effort and hard work. So thank you.
Ms. Coffey.
I had the opportunity to attend the first SIT meeting at the middle school. So it was really setting the stage for the year, giving an overview of the work the middle school had done last year on their SIT committee and laying out their hopes and plans for the year coming ahead, talking about the work the district had been doing and where the district's going as well, and really hoping to come up with some tangible plans for the school with the students for the year. And also I had the opportunity to attend the Brasser FBFA meeting and really get a chance to see a little bit of what they do and get to talk with the parents and the teachers that were there.
Thank you very much. Any other points of interest? Hearing none, we're going to move on to report of meetings. Ms. Kais.
Last week was information exchange meeting with Monroe County School Board Association, presentation by Act for Education, their banner in the corner. They do offer, they did a presentation about where they've been and where they're going, but they offer on their website lots of videos if you're interested in following a topic that they're presenting on. They're all archived on their website. All information for community and in education in general, roles of board members, just a whole wide variety of topics.
Okay, thank you very much. Other report of meetings? Hearing none, we are going to move on to visitor comments. We have 2 visitor comments this evening. The Gates Chi Central School District Board of Education invites public comment at this time. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. We ask that individuals state their name and address prior to comments and utilize the podium microphone to address the board. Although the board will not respond directly to individual comments at this time, items brought to the attention of the board may be taken under consideration for future response or action. In order to comply with laws related to confidentiality, we ask that issues related to a specific school district personnel or students be brought to the attention of the superintendent of schools privately. The board reserves the right to terminate a speaker's comments if his or her comments are in excess of 3 minutes, are repetitive, or are not appropriate for discussion in an open public forum. Stacy Ray.
Hello. My name is Stacey Ray Benner-Beatty. I live at 139 Chestnut Ridge Road. I am an adult with dyslexia. October is Dyslexia Awareness Month, and I wanted to take this opportunity to raise awareness within our community. While I did not attend Gates Chi School District as a child, I did attend a New York State school and one of your neighbors. Unfortunately, my school district did not have the tools to help me succeed, but my parents were able to find support for me outside of school. I never would have come across those supports if it hadn't been for my first grade teacher suspecting that I had dyslexia and knowing a dyslexia specialist to suggest to my parents. I know I wouldn't have succeeded in school if it hadn't been for that teacher. Today I have the perspective of being a parent of a kid who needs extra resources. My son has had access to speech therapy through early intervention. We are very fortunate and thankful that he was able to access his early intervention services for his speech. His speech therapist truly gave him his voice. Today he continues to get speech services and physical therapy services through the school district at Brasser Elementary, while mainstreaming in the classroom. It is unfortunate that this isn't always the case with kids with dyslexia. Too many teachers are not given the tools to know what dyslexia looks like, to know how to adapt their teaching methods for kids with dyslexia or what support kids with dyslexia need. And often the districts do not have the right supports either. I want to see kids with dyslexia succeed the way I have. I want to see dyslexia awareness become something of a redundancy, as everyone already knows what dyslexia is, and all the schools have all the supports they need to make these kids successful. Because hope is not lost with a dyslexia diagnosis. I have graduated from the University of Rochester and have a master's degree from St. John Fisher, among others. It is incredibly hard and incredibly stressful, but I was successful, and I know that all kids with dyslexia can be. They just need the right tools, and our schools and our teachers need the access to these tools. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Tina Carney.
Good evening. Before I get started with my remarks tonight, I wanted to share some appreciation and acknowledgement to Katie Coffey for joining our FBFA meeting. You need to be schooled by this woman about the Board of Education. The information that you provided to us, the dialogue that you had from parents was just incredible. And I also wanted to say thank you to the parents and guardians who are here tonight and to the parents and guardians who are not here tonight. I am blessed and grateful to live among this incredible community of strong parent, family leaders and raising my children in this community. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting your kids and my kids too. My name is Tina Carney. I'm a Gates Chi parent and advocate for struggling learners, including those who are dyslexic. Tonight I'm going to talk about student academic achievement and dyslexia. I appreciate the recent reports given at previous Board of Education meetings from the Office of Curriculum Instruction, Special Education, and BOCES. I was surprised that none of the reports included student achievement data. We know COVID and the resulting instructional loss had a negative impact on student achievement. I'm curious to know, where do Gates Chi students currently perform? Have we caught up to pre-pandemic achievement levels, or are students still behind? President Potensky and the Board of Education members, please encourage Superintendent Daly to share student achievement data pre-pandemic through and including the present fall benchmark. Be sure the data for our most vulnerable students is included: English language learners, students of color, the economically disadvantaged, and students with disabilities. Lastly, October is Dyslexia Awareness Month. Imagine being a smart kid sitting in a class day after day, failing day after day, despite knowing that you're smart. Imagine being told to work harder, focus, or try harder. Imagine that you know dyslexia, you know you have it, but you don't know if other people know what that means. Imagine you don't know you're dyslexic and you feel like you're stupid because reading, spelling, or writing is much harder for you than any of your classmates, and you don't know why. Dyslexia is real, and Gates Chalet Central School District owes it to our kids, our families, our communities, and our teachers to actively work with all stakeholders, including parents, to allow our struggling learners and all learners to reach their potential. Thank you for your time. Thanks for your service. Take care.
Thank you very much. That is the end of visitor comments. Moving on to Florence Brasser presentation.
Okay. Good evening, President Potensky, Board of Education members, and Superintendent Daly. It is a true pleasure for Mr. Young and I to be here this evening to share some of the wonderful things that happen at Florence Brasser. We will be sharing a few of our focus areas for the 2022-23 school year. And as you probably have noticed, we have some of our fantastic staff members and students here to help us tonight.
So we're looking at our Brasser goals, and we started at the end of June of last school year, starting to reflect on what we can do to support our kids. Then we spent some time as an administrative team as together in early July. And then we went back to our building, and Aaron and I worked along with our instructional support team, our leadership team, and our advisory team to come up with some ideas of how we can build our building to be as strong as possible, academically and social emotionally. So when the staff arrived, we were ready to present what we thought was some great ideas. We spent a month and a half working with our staff, and our staff giving input in regards to our goals that they felt would rise to the occasion where they would feel connected and be part of the process. And what we want tonight is present you those indicators. So if you look on the presentation, our first goal is focusing on student growth in both academic and social emotional development through the implementation of the Brasser Way core values, inclusion of all students, and intentional data-responsive collaborative work. Has a lot of similarities to our district goal, but under those, we have some action steps. We want to engage in professional communication regarding student progress and instructional response. We want to plan and share professional resources among our teachers and strategies. We want to utilize the Brasser Way framework to celebrate student success, but using that to have embedded expectations and outcomes. We want to regularly obtain, format, and use data to inform instruction. And we want to formulate flexible needs-based instructional groups in classroom and grade levels. These were the ideas that the teachers felt were most important to us in our building, which are connected to our district goals. Our second goal that we're looking at would be also another important aspect is understanding the value and respond to the diverse learners in our building. And that is important for us. Our second goal that we're looking at is maximizing relationships with all school community members. We know that we've been through a lot these last 2 years, and we feel that it's important that we strive to maximize these relationships in a welcoming, affirming, and equitable learning environment. Some of the ideas that we're looking at, we'd like to invite all Brasser families to participate in celebrating our student learning, inviting those families into the school day and really celebrating alongside their child. We also want to support student leadership opportunities through Student Council and Safety Patrol. We also want to promote staff unity and well-being. We want to provide opportunities for all Brasser families to engage in dialogue regarding their students. We want to teach and reinforce the students' demonstration of the Brasser way and bucket filling behaviors. And we're going to touch upon two of those tonight.
Okay, so the Brasser Way focus traits, respect, responsibility, compassion, and hard work, they are taught in our building, they're reinforced in our building, they're celebrated in our building. You'll also see them in large format on posters throughout our building, in the hallways, classrooms, cafeteria. But we know that no real learning happens without the creativity and the expertise of teachers. And so we have a couple of those teachers here this evening to share with us a little bit about how the Brasser Way is embedded in our day-to-day life at school. So it's a real pleasure to introduce Lee Herkamp from our second grade team and Christine Smeaton from our third grade team to share a little bit more.
Hi. So as you see, one of the things that we're starting this year is doing a vocabulary word of the week. And along with our Brasser Way traits of the respect, responsibility, compassion, and hard work, a team of us over the summer actually looked at character traits and divvied up, okay, what character traits would fall under each of those Spartan Way values. And so every week we introduce a new word, and it is a common word. Everybody from K through 5 gets this. It's in their mailbox every Monday. There are resources for them to use on Schoology. There are prompts to use in circles, which Lee is going to touch upon. But it is an opportunity for us to really understand and teach our students, respect, especially to a kindergarten. What does that look like? And they just say to be nice. So it gives specific definitions and specific ways, and then it offers them ideas of how they can show it.
So another way we really support the Brasser Way character traits is by using a school-wide community circle we started this year. So every Wednesday morning, all staff members, including special areas, support staff, are assigned a classroom, and they participate in a community circle in each classroom. A lot of times, teachers use those resources on Schoology, and they use those words to help support the learning of our SEL programs and just to build community across our school so that every classroom is doing the same thing. And then it leads into celebrating our learning.
So one of the things that we do school-wide is we have red tickets. And I don't know where my props went. So sorry. So when we see students exhibiting the Brasser Way, we will often give them a red ticket. Each individual red ticket is then gathered. Each classroom has a bucket that they get to fill buckets, which we're going to talk about. And, then we get to celebrate. So we have a kickoff ceremony in the beginning. Okay, we're going to work on respect this, for this semester, and we're going to really work on that. And there's going to be different ways. Students are engaged. Did you guys love watching us dance? Yeah, okay, so the staff is really involved. We're celebrating and really kicking it off. At the end, we're also going to have a culminating activity, and that's where our tickets are utilized. We also have a Brasser Way Yay that we're going to be kicking off. So if staff see students exhibiting maybe, okay, inclusiveness, hey, I saw that you were including so-and-so on the playground, I'm going to really recommend your class is doing a really nice job. Certain classrooms will be nominated for those awards, and then they're actually celebrated over the loudspeaker, so they get to be celebrated school-wide.
And finally, we have instituted 2 books that we're using as a whole school. We've differentiated based on grade level. So our primary classes, so K and 1, are using Fill a Bucket. Teachers have read this multiple times. It's also been introduced through our school kickoff celebration, and older students are reading Buckets, Dippers, and Lids. Teachers are reading aloud both these books, and we provided different activities to support this learning, and it's vocabulary that's used school-wide so that when a teacher or a staff member says, you really need to use your lid right now, the student automatically understands what that teacher's talking about.
Thank you, Mrs. Herkamp and Mrs. Smeaton. Awesome job. We are also very proud to support student leadership, as you can tell at Brasser. Student voice is powerful. It has an important place in our building. We value it. And to share a little bit more about Student Council, it's a pleasure to introduce the co-advisors of Student Council this year, and that is Mrs. Sarah Amesbury from the 4th grade team and Miss Lauren Ewert from the 5th grade team.
And we're also going to invite all of our student council members up with us as well. You guys can come stand right in front of us here.
Thank you so much for inviting us to your meeting tonight. My name is Sarah Amesbury, and I am a 4th grade teacher.
And I'm Lauren Ewert, and I'm a 5th grade special education teacher. Advocacy and participation in government are two issues that Mrs. Amesbury and I are both very passionate about, and we're very grateful to work with a group of students that share those passions. And our student council provides opportunities for student-led leadership throughout our building as well as in our Gates-Chili community.
Having a student council that is reflective to our student body and is inclusive for all students was a focus for us. Starting last year, we redesigned our application process to be more inclusive for all students. Rather than the traditional process of giving a speech in front of the class, we decided to diversify the process.
So students had the choice of either completing a traditional paragraph in speech, making a short Flipgrid video that they could present to their class, or drawing a poster to help illustrate how they would be a great representative for student council. This process gave students who have a variety of skill sets the chance to apply and participate, and then classes were able to conduct their elections in a way that was best met the needs of their student, that was most equitable for everyone involved.
All of the student council members standing before you today participated in the election process, and we are so proud of them. We are excited to have these members of student council with you today, and we're going to share some more experiences from the leadership members of student council.
Hi, my name is Tim Walker, and I am the student council president. I'm excited to be a member of the student council because I want to make the school a better place. This year we'll work on delivering messages and lessons and respect, responsibility, compassion, and hard work to our own classrooms, as well as to younger students in our school. We will work to be role models for our peers. One reason I wanted to join student council is to be president, to make big decisions and to make the school a better place.
My name is Raz and Danny, and I am the Student Council Vice President. I am looking forward to giving back to our community. This year we are planning to work with our local senior community center to create a pen pal program so we can share stories, pictures, and letters to spread happiness in our community. I joined Student Council because I wanted to be a role model for the younger grades and help people when they need it. I also wanted to be a great leader.
My name is Ariana Crusoe, and I am the Student Council Secretary. As Secretary, I am responsible for taking meeting minutes and ensuring all information is passed along. Part of our job as Student Council representatives is listening to the needs and concerns of our classmates and discussing those issues in our monthly meetings. The reason I wanted to join student council is because I want to help think of ideas to change our school and help come up with ideas to make the school a better place. Also, I want to be a leader to my peers.
My name is Anna Keenan, and I'm the Student Council Treasurer. Our Student Council raised over $800 at our car wash last year to help support our initiatives, such as creating water bottle holders for our 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade classrooms. We also used this money to purchase our own club t-shirts. This year, in addition to raising money for our group projects, we also wanted to find ways to donate time and resources to our community. I wanted to be Student Council Treasurer because I'm good at math and counting money. I wanted to be student council member so I could be a good role model at our school.
Thank you so much for taking the time to learn about Brasser Student Council. We are so proud of this group of children for their passion to make our school a better place. Can we give them another round of applause?
Okay, that concludes our Brasser presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. We look forward to working with these kids and really having that shared leadership that's important for us to grow. So, thank you again.
Thank you very much. Moving on to HR report.
You want to switch? I don't.
Eva.
My wife doesn't notice. Yeah, you could try.
Okay.
There you go.
Good evening. Good evening, Mr. Potensky. Good evening,
evening.
Mr. Moscato. Good evening, Mr. Daly, and members of the Board of Education. My name is Michaela Parado. I'm the Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources and Labor Relations. And with me tonight is Dr. Sandra Vasquez, who is our Director of Recruitment, Hiring, and Diversity Practices. Tonight, we have a few highlights to go over with you. But first, we want to make sure you're familiar with our team. In addition to the two of us, we also have 2 assistants in our office, Patty Palmer, who has been with the district for 24 years in various capacities, and she is a jack of all trades. She does it all, and she's done most jobs in this district. So if you ever need anything done, Patty Palmer is the woman to go to. And more recently, a couple years ago, we were joined by Glenda Gonzalez. Glenda assists in a lot of the very fine detail work related to attendance and leaves, which we are going to go over in more detail in a couple minutes. So last year when we presented, we did an overview of all of the areas that Human Resources oversees. All of those areas are listed here for you, but tonight we are going to focus mainly on recruitment, hiring, and onboarding, and then on attendance. So I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Vasquez for recruitment.
Good evening. Thank you for having us. So, as you know, recruiting, hiring, and onboarding has been big for us, big for many school districts. And so we want to talk about some ways that we do this work. We really focused this year and last year on advertising and attending job fairs. I think I've attended over 10 job fairs since last year, both out of state and also within our community and right within our district. Managing interview processes, including screening applications, selecting candidates for interviews, and interviewing. So that's a process of just looking at each application, bless you, and making sure that they meet the qualifications and that we get them set for our administrators to review and to select for interviewing. We make offers to candidates as part of the gig. Processing fingerprints, reviewing board policies and systems with new employees, and providing employees with new ID badges and proper access. So really, it's retention for me starts with just talking about our district, but really on the onboarding process, just talking a lot about what the district is doing with DEI, really what our mission and vision is, and making sure that those that we're onboarding really align to the goals and the values that we have for the district. So with recruitment and hiring, when we're fully staffed, we have about 840 full-time staff members. We've hired about 207 new staff members between September of 21 and 22, which replaced about 25.6 of our staff. And approximately hired about 135 were hired between June and September of 22. And we calculated about 33% of those hired were individuals from our BIPOC community, which if you don't know what BIPOC is Black and Indigenous and people of color. It's a term where we center the experiences of Black and Indigenous people, and it's also used as kind of a catchphrase to show the unity between people of color. So these are our applicant demographics. So this is really just to show, if you look at kind of the trajectory from 19 to present, 19 to 20, we had about 10.6 BIPOC candidates, and then moving on, our progressing into 20 and 21, 11.8. And then in 21, 22, 23%. And then currently, as our numbers stand right now, at 27.5%. So this really for us demonstrates that all the money that we've put into advertising, all the venues, we've definitely expanded where we have advertised all of our postings, all of the work that we've done with communication, the consistency that we really have worked towards, it is working. So it's really great to see our progress that's been made over the years. So I spoke a little bit about where we are advertising at this point. As I mentioned, attendance at in-person and virtual job fairs. We did many job fairs virtually when the pandemic was around, which was interesting, but also just another way of attending job fairs. Online recruitment on job boards, such as Handshake that we use, social media, so all forms of social media. We're using Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter to really advertise the postings that we have. Obviously, our district website, BOCE's website, email blast. We have worked hard to really try to get our staff involved in part of recruitment. Advertising through the Democrat and Chronicle, as well as ShiftDiff, and ShiftDiff is a local employee job posting venue, which scrapes a lot of the urban radios in the city. So we've had some great success with ShiftDiff. Word of mouth, I tend to talk to most anybody about recruitment, and I encourage most people to do that as well as our own employees, like was mentioned earlier. And then we've had a lot of traffic and referrals because of our top workplace rankings and our diversity award. So that's been great that we've earned those awards, and really catalyst to a lot of the interest that we have here at Gates. So as you all know, we had a job fair in July. We had about 89 attendees this year. 78 participated in screenings and an interview event. So it was nice to really have a kind of a one place for everybody to come to get to know the district, get to know our staff, see what openings we had. If they're interested, then to apply right on site. We had 48 individuals apply to the vacancies after leaving the event. So that was impactful to know that once they left the job fair, they were still thinking about Gates, and they really went on their own to apply. And then 25 of those were offered position in our district. So in talking about employee demographics, which is different from our applicant demographic, in 2010 and 11, you can see we had about a 2.53% of our BIPOC population, and increasingly over the years to 22, 23, we're at 11.8 so far. So again, I think everything that we're doing as a district, all the just the different venues, all the advertisement, what we're doing with our communications department, which is Eva, we've really, I think, have done a really great job on centering Gates Chila as really as a place to come work to come work. And 33% of those employees hired, like I said, between June 30th and September were BIPOC, and 13 of those were instructional. So I think that, in terms of what we want to do, it's really happening, and it's really great to see that our numbers continue to rise and what we're doing is working. So with that, all the good stuff, there's still hiring challenges, right? So we see that across the nation, and it's no different here at Gage Chi-Li. So it's competitive, right? Everybody's looking for qualified candidates. Everybody's looking to just make sure that they're trying to regain all of the people that they had prior to pandemic. So we're kind of all in competition when it comes to that. Doubling the number of new hires as compared to pre-COVID used to be about 100 a year, and we've, as you see, the numbers that we've hired at. I think it was 207 at one point we were counting. So it just a lot of hires. A third of our support staff applicants either cancel or do not show for interviews, which has been a trend where we think we have a full schedule, but then either our competitors kind of get to them first, or for other reasons they're not kind of circling back. And approximately about 20% of the chosen candidates accept job, go through the full onboarding process, and then either do not start or quit within a week. So that's the story we're trying to change. That's what we're trying to work at. And as we know, these are challenges that all districts are going through for the most part, but it's trying then to figure out ways, how do we combat some of these challenges?
Okay, so shifting to talk about what we do on the attendance side of the house. So human resources, we manage all the hiring of all per diem and long-term substitutes. We manage all of the attendance related to issues with discipline, terminations, anything like that. We manage all the long-term, short-term leaves, Family Medical Leave Act requirements, fitness for duty exams and Section 913 exams, all the yearly rollover in coordination with the business office for all attendance allotments per contract. So again, 840 full-time employees in the district. So we are managing the attendance records for all 840 with the help of our colleagues in the buildings and departments, their support staff there. This is probably a third of the types of leaves that we have available within our coding system. So this is just a sampling. Sick days, EOL days, which we're the only place on earth that calls them EOL days. They're personal days everywhere else. Vacation, bereavement, jury duty, child rearing, adoption, conference, approved unpaid, FMLA, unpaid suspension, administrative leave, cancer screenings, and many, 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 many more. Most of the codes are only available to human resources. So outside of sick, EOL, vacation, bereavement, and jury duty, anything else outside of that has to be entered by HR, which means human resources, Glenda in our office, is in contact with the buildings, getting information from them, following up, getting proper documentation, following up again, following up again, following up again, and the cycle continues. One of the great challenges has been COVID-19, and attendance concerns related to COVID-19 have not ended. We are still managing attendance-related issues. Last year, there was legislation passed that mandated COVID-19 related sick leave, completely separate and distinct from an employee's sick leave allotment that they get. So COVID-19 leave is reimbursable. And in last year, we used 1,865 COVID-19 days as a district, which equates to each staff member taking and being paid for and not having deducted from their sick leave allotment an additional 2.25 sick days in a year. So obviously that's a huge volume of time to manage, and it has to be coded completely differently than all other types of time and tracked differently. There's different forms to use.
and the county is no longer tracking any of that, so we are tracking on our own at this point and trying to put systems in place to make sure that we're catching everything that we need to catch and we're on top of accurate attendance records. Attendance has been complicated by the staffing and substitute shortages. In order to combat that, we have hired at least 2 building substitutes per building in order to remain open during some of our peak absences that we've had. Last year we had one day where we had 120 staff members out on a single day, and we had that kind of sustained for a chunk of time. And by the skin of our teeth, we were able to remain open, and thanks to the dedication of our hardworking full-time staff here that weren't sick, we were able to remain open. People have really pitched in and helped as best they possibly can. They've given up plans and taken on extra classes. They've done whatever is necessary to help kids, which is a lovely thing to see. But again, still difficult. So we have committed to minimum of 2 building subs per building. And what that looks like is we have people who are designated as substitutes for those particular buildings, and those people come in every day. And they are used every single day. We are anticipating that this winter will also be difficult. There's already a lot of illnesses going around. So I think we're going to have some attendance difficulties this winter as well. But I have no doubt that our staff will rally like they always do and that we will get through it. Do you have any questions for myself or Dr. Vasquez about anything we've gone over? Carrie.
You said 840
We are down about 25 right now. And that's across the district. So I would say that would include transportation, which we're down, like most districts right now, we're down a good chunk of drivers and bus attendants, although we are in much better shape than most districts, thank goodness. But that is always a hard area. And then additionally, aides. We need teacher aides, and we have needed teacher aides. We've hired a ton of teacher aides, but we still need about 10 teacher aides to be fully staffed. Rob? So they're subs. So what we do for those individuals is they are provided with an individual health plan, the high deductible plan, and then they get paid the highest sub rate. So they get paid the $200 a day from day one by agreeing to commit to us and only show up here every day. Yeah. Dr. Richards?
I would just like to actually commend the district as far as the work that's being done with the increase of our diverse candidates and moving those on to the applicants, because that's some of the work that we as a board definitely strive for to continue to grow. I had the question about the breakdown of positions, but I see Dr. Vasquez answered with the 33% in the instructional pool, because for me that's also key, right? We want to make sure that the population is spread across the positions in the district.
Absolutely.
So that students see people of color in all areas.
Doors and windows. Yep.
So I love to, I'm loving the numbers, and I'm only looking forward to us even growing more.
Yeah, we 100% agree, and we have almost in 1 year's time almost doubled our BIPOC instructional staff, which that's a lot of thanks to this lovely lady right here who's doing a lot of hard work. So.
Other questions?
And I would just like to add too, that I feel like what the board has supported, what the district has supported, and what we are doing as a district in terms of becoming known for our work with CRSE, for our DEI work, it has made our jobs on the recruitment side a lot easier, because this is a place that people want to be right now, and not everybody feels that way about public education right now. That's not to say we don't have difficulties. As you can see, we still have difficulties hiring, But I commend the Board of Education, and I thank you for your ongoing support, as well as, our colleagues on the administrative side, because it certainly, it's everyone's effort to try to recruit, as Dr. V said, and we would not be anywhere near where we are right now without those sustained efforts. So, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Moving on to Policy Committee update from October 13th, 2022. Anybody have any?
We had a riveting meeting where we discussed one policy which is recommended to update to include consent agenda.
Okay.
As you can see before. And I believe the recommendation would be to later on skip the second reading, but that's something we'll talk about later. But
Okay.
it was fully engaging and well worth the reading.
Noted. Noted. So,
I'll try and make it more succinct next time, sir.
so moving on to that item, we have first read for policy 1512. What?
Yep. So they read it.
We're all good there?
Yep. And, yes, sir.
There's a couple comments on the concept of consent agenda. We use Robert's Rules of Order to help organize our meetings, and Roberts does allow the concept of consent agenda. This was one of my recommendations, that we put it in our board policies. It's important for the public to understand the purpose is not to hide anything from the public or from anybody on the board. Everything in the consent agenda is available in our agenda on the website. All the documentation, all the reference work, everything is there. So if anybody wants to know, what's in the consent agenda, it's all right there. They don't need to foil it or anything. It's available, and basically the idea is to make the meeting more efficient. Some of you know I've been at this 22 years, and I was on the board when we used to have meetings that got over with at 11:30, 12 o'clock. It wasn't fun because we would argue and debate almost everything. And it would go on and go on and go on, and there wasn't a lot of consensus about some stuff. So this approach basically takes some of the routine stuff, like a bid or disposal of old materials, out of a long, drawn-out discussion. And every board member can ask any additional questions about it. So again, it's all there. It's very public, and it does make it much more efficient. So I certainly am in favor of it.
Thank you very much for clarifying that, Mr. Moscato. Any other discussion on this item? Okay, thank you very much. Moving on to NISBA annual meeting resolutions. Do we have further discussion?
Well, I guess that's me. This was the 18th annual meeting I've attended. 16 of them have been in person, and 2 were virtual. And I understand during the height of COVID to do virtual. It made sense. You're talking about putting 300 people in the same room together. And that's not something that would be very conducive during the height of the COVID pandemic. But now I think that the New York State School Board Association prefers this because it's cheaper. People don't have to travel. So nothing to do with the pandemic or anything like that. There were 43 resolutions, and I'm not going to bore anybody with any of them, all of them rather. There's one that was of interest, had to do with stipend for school board members, and that was soundly defeated, 2-1. Concern was that it might project a bad image about why people become school board members. Can't imagine why that would do that, but that was easily defeated. There were several resolutions dealing with parental involvement in schools, and they were all defeated by at least a 2-1 margin. But I think it's important for parents to understand there are processes, there are procedures if you want to get involved. Now, I don't think parents understand that when it comes to curriculum writing, that means many meetings during the school year. It means meetings during the summer. It means reading a lot of stuff. And I don't think that's what these parents who were complaining at the School Board Association meeting wanted to do. They want to be able to simply cherry pick what their kids can learn. And I'm sorry, but that's not the basis for public education. You know, if that's what you want, I guess you could teach your kid at home. So again, these resolutions were all very soundly defeated more than anything else. So again, there were 43 resolutions. If anybody has any questions about any of the other ones, you know, please let me know, and we'll go from there. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Moscato. Any other comments, discussion on this item? I wanted to take a moment to thank Mr. Moscato for his time on this. I know this, every year, these resolutions do come up, and it's usually a long list, and as Mr. Moscato said, there's 42, and with each one of them, there is long discussion and debate. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of focus to get through it all, and I do appreciate Mr. Moscato taking it up for us.
Just, I logged in at 3:30 and logged out at 9:45. So, you know, and there was no bathroom break. So believe me,
Schedule.
I didn't schedule it, you know, so, and it was, again, an example where if you left, you may have missed your chance to say something, you know, so, I mean, there were other issues with the meeting, but, so yeah, it was one of the longer ones, and, you know, what are you gonna do?
Okay, thank you very much. Moving on, motion to approve the consensus agenda. Motion, please. Mr. Long and Mr. Bailey. Questions or comments on the consensus agenda? Hearing none, all in favor? The vote is unanimous. Thank you very much. Motion to approve consensus items C through I. Motion, please. Ms. Littlewood and Ms. Coffey, questions or comments? All in favor? The vote is unanimous. Thank you very much. And I would like to acknowledge we have some retirements this evening.
Yes. Good evening again. We have 3 retirements to acknowledge this evening. Our first retirement to acknowledge is Mr. Ben Amico. Mr. Amico has worked as a bus driver for us for 21 years.
Nice.
That's all there is.
You did that well.
That does not look sturdy. I'm just going to hold it. Mr. Amico has worked for us as a bus driver for 21 years. He will be retiring at the end of December this year, and we appreciate the notice, because the more time we have to fill bus driver positions, the better. So we thank Mr. Amico for his years of service and wish him well in retirement. Our next retirement to acknowledge is Mrs. Karen Sinopoli. Mrs. Sinopoli currently works in our Student Support Services Department with Mr. DeJong and his team. Prior to that, she was the building secretary over at Paul Road, and prior to that, she was actually a head bus driver. So she has been everywhere and seen everything. She has been with the district for 22 years. And she has graciously agreed to complete the rest of the school year with us as a sub, taking advantage of the rules related to collecting retirement and continuing working right now. So we thank her for that, because we can, again, use all the time that we can possibly get to backfill positions. And we wish her well in retirement as well when she does actually retire. And then finally, we have a teacher retirement to acknowledge, Mrs. Lori Ashodian, who is an elementary teacher and is a rare elementary teacher in our district who has served all 33 years that she has worked for us in Neil Armstrong. It is very rare to stay in the same school for that length of time. So she has been with us for 33 years. She's excited to retire at the end of this school year, and we thank her for her many years of dedicated service to our students. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're waiting to see if the microphone stays there. Okay, moving on to action items. Motion to waive the second reading of policy 1512. Motion, please. Mr. Moscato and Mr. Long. Questions or comments? All in favor? The vote is unanimous. Thank you very much. Motion to approve policy 1512. Ms. Kies, Dr. Richards, questions or comments? All in favor? The vote is unanimous. Thank you very much. And moving on to superintendent comments.
Well, I want to offer some congratulations to a great fall sports season. Starting with Kira Pellegrino, just won the gold at the Monroe County Cross Country Championships for the time of 18:32. She has also recently accepted an athletic scholarship at Siena College for cross country. Our modified girls tennis had their first ever undefeated season at 7-0. Our varsity competitive cheer won first place in grand champs at the Cheer Invite at Wayne Central School District. And Heidi and Kaylee Tran continue to shatter the 41-year-old diving record of Gates Chile. Currently, Heidi has the 6th dive record with a score of 207.45. Additionally, Kaylee owns the 11 dive record at 310.95, and they go back and forth every meet, beating each other's records. It's pretty impressive. And then our unified bowling opens their season Thursday, October 27th at Brockport Lanes at 4:30. And we have some upcoming sectional contests for Gates Chili. Girls volleyball will host Olympia and Odyssey on Wednesday, the 26th at 6 p.m. Boys volleyball will travel to North Rose Wolcott on Thursday, October 27th at 6 p.m. And football will travel to Hilton to play Friday, October 28th at 6 p.m. And again, because of the great facilities this board has provided our community, we'll be hosting neutral site sectionals here. The Section 5 Class A semifinal boys soccer games are this Friday at 5 and 7:15. And the Section 5 all classifications competitive cheer from 12 to 9 p.m. are here on Saturday, October 29th. And then the Section 5 Class A semifinal girls volleyball matches will be here 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. on Tuesday the 1st. So good luck to all our Spartan Fall teams and individuals competing in sectionals. Bring home the block, and good luck to all the yellow coats that will be very busy while we're hosting events here as well. So October is a neat month as well. You know, we have Dyslexia Month. We also have the National Principals Month, so we thank all our principals for the great job they do every day. It's also Board of Education Month, and we thank all our boards for what they do every day. And several groups from the district have provided you with some treats tonight to make sure that you get your fill at the board meeting. And then, like Mr. Moscato, last Thursday I had the pleasure of attending our high school drama, and it was outstanding. Thank you, Mr. Moscato and his wife for attending as well. We had a packed place to watch them, and the kids just really rose to the occasion. There's a lot of laughter and a lot of relating to some really weird dating opportunities that most people experience at one point or another, and the kids made it very funny, very engaging, and the audience was outstanding. We're very excited to witness it. So we can't wait to see the middle school drama, which is coming up shortly as well. We hosted last week the first Rock for Education meeting between students from Gates Chili, Holly, and the School of the Arts to coordinate our spring symposium. They'll be held in our district for all of BOCE's 1 and 2 component districts, as well as the Rochester City Schools. It was a great opportunity to experience our student leaders working together, as this is a fully student-driven event that it will be run here in our campus in the spring. Again, we're making the community aware, amongst many other ways, that there is an opening on the Board of Education to fill a vacancy from January 1st to 2023 until May 23rd, 2023. In order to apply to become one of the board members and be considered, by November 4th at 4 p.m., you need to submit intent to apply to our district clerk, Mrs. Brown, at 585-247-5050, extension 12101. Again, this is all available on our website. And by November 7th at 4 p.m., they must submit the following information to Mrs. Brown at 3 Spartan Way, or email it to her at her email address of cgbrown@gateschili.org. They have to have proof of voter registration, as well as a letter of intent that includes number of years lived in our district, their occupation, qualifications, involvement in our school community, and the top 2 issues that Gates Chili will face over the next 3 years. Our board will review completed applications and interview selected applicants to interview. The successful candidate to fill a position will be announced at our Board of Education regular business meeting on Tuesday, December 6th at 6:30 p.m. And again, all this information is available on our website. And lastly, one of the great events for our school year is coming up, our Fall Family Fest. Please mark your calendars. It's almost time. And this year's theme of harvesting health and wellness in our community. Please join us at the event on Thursday, November 10th from 5 to 7 p.m. in our Gates Charlie Fieldhouse at 1 Spartan Way. There'll be fun games, live performances, flu vaccines, a passport fair, our annual coat drive, and great opportunities to connect with community businesses and live performances. Also, our Spartan Way coat drive runs from October 25th to November 8th. If you are interested in donating, you can drop off new or gently used coats, hats, and mittens from October 25th through November 8th at any of our school buildings, the Westside YMCA on Elm Grove, or the Chi Public Library. Coats will be available for distribution at our Fall Family Fest. And again, thank you to our board during this recognition month for all that you do. Despite the efforts at the NYSBA conference, this still is a volunteer position of your time, and we appreciate that. And again, your focus has allowed us to do very well during some very challenging times and give supports to our students and staff so that they can succeed with them. And again, thank you to our principals, one of them that's here, especially. Great presentation tonight. But our leadership at the building level is outstanding. We've had new principals start, and it's really been a good start to the fall, and excited to see where we go the rest of the year. That is my report, sir.
Thank you very much, Superintendent Bailey. And I would like to, on behalf of the board, thank everybody for the treats. They look fantastic. And that means I'm going to have to hit a treadmill sometime in the next week. Truly appreciate it. Moving on, motion to adjourn. Mr. Bailey, Ms. Littlewood. All in favor? The vote is unanimous. We are adjourned.